Hold it! Today's show is all about friendship and justice. Objection!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Otaku Movie Anatomy.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again for a really awesome intro. Make sure you watch Otaku Movie Anatomy. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and give us any comments on iTunes. And give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And follow us at Twitter at The Popcorn Talk. At Twitter? On Twitter.
On Twitter.
That's right. On is better, right?
This is Max, because the whole internet works.
So today, objection,
Objection.
slander. If you couldn't figure out what we were doing today, we're doing the Ace Attorney live-action movie by Takashi Miike.
Yeah.
And who do we have here? Who are our prosecutors?
Who is this person?
Me. Am I the criminal or I don't know?
Yeah,
This is our
you guys
special-
are prosecution. I am the defense.
Hi, I'm Diane Garcia. Should I say my last name? I don't know. But
We did not rehearse this, guys.
no, I am. This is my first time
Yeah.
You
here.
can say whatever
So
you want
this
to.
is Diane Garcia. You may know her from such places as on the internet as
The internet.
at Punkagogo.
At Punkagogo.
And also on Defective Geeks. She's the editor-in-chief of that lovely girl-run geek website, and I also work under her as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes on her. Just kidding.
Shoot,
PJ-13.
come on now. This is a kid's show, kind of, not really.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay, so.
Hey, wait, I didn't say who I was.
Oh, but they already know you.
no,
Oh,
no one
yeah, all right,
cares.
fine. Introduce yourself.
I'm the
This
second Asian person on this
Yeah.
stage over here.
Wait, one,
I'm
two,
Michelle. You can find me at I am Chubby Bunny. I said girl.
Oh, girl.
Oh, they said Asian.
Wait, maybe I did. I'm having like.
This is starting off wonderfully.
Anyway, Ace Attorney.
It's been a long week.
It's been
It's
a
only
long
Wednesday, but it's been a long week.
It's June.
It's probably because I watched this movie and it's a 2 hour and 15-minute
long.
movie.
Long ass movie.
Though, to be fair, this is one of the best movies or best video game movies that I've seen thus far in the history of video game movies. And let me tell you, I have seen a lot of video game movies.
Yeah, and to be fair, this is also an anime that's currently airing this season.
True.
You can watch it on
It's very
Control and stuff. So it's not just a video game; it's also an anime.
I know last week I said that we were going to do Terraformers, the live
yeah.
action, but I couldn't find it on the internet. But that's why I was like, you know, another movie that Takashi Miike did was
Sure.
Ace Attorney, and so this is perfect. And I guess let's get into the nitty gritty. Just initially, if you guys don't know, it's based on a video game called Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. You can recognize him by his crazy, like, blown back hair.
It is bird-like.
It's bird-like, like falcon-esque hair.
Yes.
And he points a lot and yells objection and is a defense attorney.
And also goes, "Hold it,
Hold it.
and like the words come out.
Objection! Take that!
Oh yeah, take
I
that.
know all of them.
Yeah.
I've been practicing my pointing.
There's
if
like
you
how
can
many
tell.
games are there? Like 6?
There
There's a
are.
lot, right?
There's
I played like 4
9
of them.
of
Oh my
them.
god.
There are 9
Jeez.
games.
Wait, they weren't all released in America
I
though.
only played one.
Because the
There's
localization.
2 games that haven't been released.
Okay.
One is the second Miles Edgeworth game, and
So they're spin-offs.
yeah, and then the prequel version of it, which is like his Phoenix Wright's like great grandfather
Oh,
or
yeah,
something. It has
it's like
Sherlock Holmes in it.
Old timesy one.
Yeah, and that's
I want to play that.
and I really wanted that to come to America, and I was like super jazzed for it, and they just kind of never brought it here, and that makes me very sad. But luckily, we have this movie, which also did not come out in America, unfortunately.
Apparently, it was supposed to be licensed and localized, and they just like never went through it.
Yeah, which totally sucks because this
Thanks
is a
for
great
dropping the
movie.
ball,
Pretty
guys.
amazing.
Just some initial stats, right? It's called Gyakuten Saiban. Yomikaru Gyakuten?
You're saying it totally wrong. It's Gyakuten Saiban.
There you go.
Gyaku is like
And
to turn
but it's
around.
also for some reason also saying around. Yes, but it means Turnabout Trial. So that's what the whole title is. It made 1,500,000.
You can just say 1,500,000 in
1,500,000.
the future.
Or 1.5 million, whatever.
Objection.
Good lord.
In US dollars, its opening weekend, and it grossed $6 million throughout its theatrical run. And as you know, for a Japanese movie about a video game that's also kind of an anime, that's very,
lot.
very, very good.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah,
Ace
good
Attorney.
for this movie.
Gyakuten Saiban.
So it has mixed reviews so far. I think a lot of people who have played the games really love it. I've played all of them, and I saw this and I was like, this is a very
It's so
loyal
direct.
adaptation.
It's a
Super
direct
loyal.
translation
Yeah.
of the
Just
game.
it's the game.
Yeah.
Basically.
With humans in it, and God, the actors, sort of humans. The actors are amazing in this. You know, they just really embody the character. Even all of their kind of like ridiculous reactions, they're very dedicated. The first is Hiroki Narimiya, who was in Nana. if you
Oh,
didn't
that's
know.
right. He's in a lot of stuff.
He's in a lot of
so
stuff.
He's
cute.
one
Yeah.
of those guys that's like he's an A-lister right now, so he's in every commercial for yogurt or Pepsi or what have you in
Yeah.
Japan right now, and he's just like him and his cheekbones are
Yeah, just them cheekbones.
They're
They're
like
they're
sliced
like
some
up
bread.
here.
Yeah. That's Phoenix Wright, by the way. He also apparently does like a bunch of anime movies, like just a ton of them. And then we have Mirei Kiritani, who's Maya, and she is from Assassin Classroom and Love of My Life. I haven't seen her around very much, but she
feel like
is
she's in other
gorgeous,
stuff,
and I
too.
love her. And we are going to get married and have a
Oh.
beautiful family.
okay.
Yeah, I thought
Just saying.
that note means she's the love of your life.
Oh no! Yeah, no, that was the note.
There's a note here that says she's the love of
My
Max's
life.
life.
I had to remind myself in case I forgot.
Oh, you guys
She
should
was
see
the love
these. We
of
should
my
put these
life.
online. They're great.
And then Takumi Saito, who was Edgeworth, and he's in 13 Assassins, but he mostly does VOs.
Yeah, because he's
Right.
a little
Yeah.
bit terrible, but it's hard
But-
to play that character.
Yeah.
But he's also in the Prince of Tennis stage play.
Oh God, that's right. So if you don't know, all great anime must come to its
stage
bitter
play.
end as a stage play. So most of the times as a musical
all
stage
anime dies.
I wouldn't say bitter end. The Naruto stage play is pretty amazing.
But like, how many did it have to get to be terrible ones to get to a good one?
See,
like
but-
something like 70, like not like a 1 or 2, like a bunch.
But that's the pinnacle. That's how you know you're important enough to get a stage play, right? Like all the Shonen Jump greats have gotten a stage play for the most part.
Bleach is getting a rock musical that's debuting like this month, I think.
Yes.
Wait, I
rock
thought that already happened.
There's 2 of them. So there was an old one, the old business. Now
I
there's
got
the
to
new,
go
Oh,
to
the
that
new
the
one.
new hotness. You went to the old one?
Yes.
Was
I
it
did.
amazing or
it was
terrible?
Pretty amazing.
But like,
But
good?
I was very biased because I was a huge Bleach head for a long
Is
time.
that,
that what
what
they're
they're calling
called?
them
I don't
now?
know. That's what I call
Bleach drinkers.
Bleach. Yeah.
That's right, guys. Diane out otakus us in a couple of different divisions of anime. Watch out.
I mean, I'm just jaded by Bleach, so I've just been burned by a chemical burn by Bleach.
We know a lot about
I
last
stopped
episode.
when it was good, so I
Oh,
didn't
when
get
was
burned.
that? Season 1?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I stopped at
That's
season
not true. It's up to Aizen, and then it's
Okay, we're not talking about Bleach
Okay,
again.
not
Anyway.
Bleach, not
Last
Bleach.
week we talked about Bleach.
tangent. That was a tangent. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're just gonna quickly go through the synopsis because once again, this is like
Exactly
a
the
40-hour game that
It's-
this is based on.
It's deep, you guys.
But surprisingly, they get most of the details down, and they streamline it.
Sort of.
Well, I would have to say they streamline it pretty well for the amount of stuff that the game has. Basically, Phoenix Wright is it's just a crappy defense lawyer in the lowest tiers of court, and so he's defending numerous other people, like his friend, and then he kind of ends up finding that the big trial being Edgeworth, and finding his friend has murdered someone. He says that he hadn't murdered someone, but there's all this evidence around them.
This is like the best synopsis I've ever heard in my whole life.
Look, I'm telling you, it's a long thing. I wish I could just go through
This
everything.
guy killed this guy, but he didn't kill the guy.
But he didn't kill the guy. And
Guys, if you're in chat, let us know how much you're enjoying this. I am monitoring.
hey,
What's up, Star Drew?
this is a 2-hour-long movie, and I'm trying to fit a synopsis in like 5 minutes. So Phoenix Wright is a defense lawyer. His friend Edgeworth is also a prosecutor, and he's like, "Why'd you change? Whatever." And then he gets accused of murder, And now it's up to Phoenix Wright to save Edgeworth's life, I guess. And then it's wrapped up into this huge, long, 15-year-old case called DL6, and then introduce a lot of other characters. Maya the Spirit Medium, and you know, she kind of helps along after she also is accused of murder and is defended by Phoenix Wright. And I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, because it's definitely one of the movies to watch.
A while.
Yeah, the movie has been out for a while, but maybe people haven't been able to see it.
Sure.
So yeah, what did you guys think about the movie? How about that? We'll
In
just start with that.
general, so you're right. It's a good adaptation. It's so loyal to the video game to a fault. Where I'm like, you know, you didn't have to bring every single trial case that was in the game into the movie. You could have like skipped a couple.
It didn't.
It
did not.
They missed like one.
They missed the second case, which I believe is called Turnabout Samurai, which is about the Steel Samurai.
I remember that
But they
one.
reference
Yes.
this Steel
Like they
Samurai.
shove all this stuff, and it's great because it is so honest to the video game. And again, we have a comment saying, yeah, this was the video game. It is. It's all we're talking about now. And it's also anime. It's airing now. To recap, but they didn't have to bring in all that extra stuff. It's nice. It gives flavor for sure, but the movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, guys, and it's kind of like a cosplay movie, and I think they're shoving so much information into this time, even though there's a lot of time, that if you kind of blink for a second or like go to get a cup of coffee and come back, you are so lost. Like you've lost the train
To
of
be
thought.
fair, though, if you're going to go get a cup of coffee
Pause
during
it.
a
I get
movie, like that's, you know, but
What I'm trying to say is
right.
there's so much information that they're kind of like they're just like blowing through it really fast. Like, okay, this guy's gonna this guy,
Yeah.
and this guy has amnesia, but he doesn't really have amnesia. And then there was this girl also. There's so many characters, and they're shoving it in 2 hours. It's a lot. I think they could have
is.
scaled it down a bit, but it's it is what it is. It's
I
a
think
direct
the
adaptation.
only problem is that all of those things are actually necessary. Like, for the most part, you can, I mean, clearly, there is a lot of parts where it's just, hey, here's a reference, here's an Easter egg of the video game, which is very much, you're right, it's very much stuffed in between every single part as much as possible. And then there are scenes where it's like very much just focused on just the Easter egg, and you're like, here's an Easter egg, here's a reference, here's a reference, here's a reference. But for the most part, in terms of what the case was and what it involved and the characters that were involved, I believe that it was the best way to go about it, because you need to have Maya and Mia's trial, right? You have to have Mia die. That's, you know, part of it. That's where the evidence initially comes from. And then it goes straight into Edgeworth. And they could have actually had that samurai one, you know? It does, but you know, they just
But the movie was already 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
yeah. And the first one, the first like trial technically doesn't even really exist, which is like defending Larry
Yeah.
Butts, but that's introducing the
they
system.
do try to like burn it, like they try to like get through it as quickly as they
really,
can.
really fast.
But did we need that montage at the beginning of the hall of the like purgatory, like actual purgatory?
Yes.
That was amazing. So the movie opens on this really great scene of, so Maya and Mia's mother is a spirit medium as well, and it's a montage of her like going into a trance and seeing and trying to call forth the dead guy to find out who killed him. And it's like this crazy, it's like this depiction of hell with like burning fires and like a plane going through the sky, and like everyone's like waiting in line to like go get judged in purgatory. And I'm like, what is happening, guys?
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the game, but it's just like a really dramatic opening.
Yeah.
It's
But
dramatic.
That is
That has nothing to do with the movie.
Sure, that has actually
It's
nothing to do
strange. Yeah.
with this, but I think it's a good way of like introducing the weirdness of this world. In the game, they very much do not touch upon that at all.
Nope.
So it's more like, I'm a spirit medium, and they're like,
That's
yes,
fine.
I just come out whenever the fuck I feel like.
Yeah.
But that is actually Takashi Miike
Call him Mike if you have
kind
to.
of
Good
like
lord.
kind of like visual style that
Yeah.
he has, you know?
Yeah, Starger was saying that I wanted more storyline outside of the video. No, the video game storyline. I wanted it to be more edited down.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
again, like you're right. We do need to kind of to get to the main point of the plot of the video game, which is like where it arcs, and that's that like the last trial you do. You do need to have this other evidence of all these other trials, like 4 other trials.
Yeah.
So they shove them in there, and
And
it's
that's
kind of a
what,
lot.
the thing is, that's what makes the game great, is that it's not these individual scenes. It's
It builds
these
to crescendo.
seemingly individual scenes, but then you realize that it's all sort of like woven in together. And that's
Right.
a theme that goes throughout literally all 6 of the games.
Well, it's a formula. It's called formulaic.
Well, no, it's not. It's not. Formulaic is just having one chunk per chunk and just having them be each individual stories. The good thing is it's like the main story, there's an A story and a B story, and then all the games kind of like go through A story with B story sprinkled in, and that's what I believe they try to do here.
Right. I mean, even though it was a really long movie, it was really entertaining the whole way through. Like, it was really funny, and then like it kind of ended super dramatically, and then it was funny again.
Yeah, they're really careful about not letting it get too dark, because there's portions of it that, because in the game they kind of gloss through like, someone just died, like, but it's kind of like funny. They're like, oh, that was weird, So in the movie, when someone dies, it's quite, it has consequences, but they quickly shift to like, hey, here's that funny puppet guy again. I thought it was a good balance.
Yeah.
There's some differences between the game and the movie, which I found.
Here we go.
So, for the most part, obviously, it does go through everything except for Turnabout Samurai, which in the game is basically used to show how, like, Phoenix and Edgeworth are in court, how they both are sort of prosecutor and defense. So, the big difference with the movie and the game is that they actually have a 3-day trial rule in the movie, which I think the reason is because instead of explaining that there was this statute of limitations on DL6, they just made it so it's like you have 3 days, So then each of the court cases would have to go through like really quickly, which I thought was a good device, because if you're trying to be like, why is this trial? Like, why aren't people giving a fuck about it? Like, like even in the game, you're like, there's no jury. Not really. It's kind
of a scary system.
It's just kind of like arbitrary evidence. So it's like it's
and the
very
judge
much
just decides by himself.
Yeah,
in the
he's
game.
just like, you're guilty.
It's like if you committed murder and the only person that could help you was the debate team at your high school. Like, that's what it feels like, right?
You're controlled by their emotions and wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that was just the device that he put in to kind of like make this world, one, way more like kind of interesting and strange, and two, just so that they could explain through these things as quick as possible to have the system, and they explain it off as there's so much crime happening in Japan, so many crimes.
Everyone's committing crime.
Which, to be fair, I mean, if we applied that system here, I don't know, maybe justice would be dispensed a little quicker.
It's much more complicated.
Sure, it is much more complicated, but it's understandable. So Von Karma didn't falsify evidence. He did falsify evidence, but not in the same way. It wasn't like kind of interwoven in the story. So the DL6 case is a totally another case that actually just involves him dying, not like where it's woven together like with Yanni Yogi. Like, that story is not actually woven into that case. It just so happens that Yanni Yogi kind of like kills Edgeworth's father, like kind of in a fit of like hysteria, not necessarily, or he's blamed for it. Or he's blamed for it by Von Karma, even though Von Karma is the one that committed the murder, which that is still true. But Yanni Yogi kind of like, it was a part of it and supposedly killed everyone. So that part is kind of the same. Red White looks totally different.
It's weird because he's the only character who got a complete, him and the judge, but like he got a complete makeover.
Well, I think it's because Miike really likes having creepy shit. Like, creepy shit is like his thing, that's his style. Or creepy or weird. And so
Red White was definitely creepy.
But Red White is also very weird looking too. So I would have actually thought he would have gone with the more colorful, kind of like flamboyant.
Everybody else looks exactly like their counterparts.
Almost.
Because I think in the video game, he's just kind of like a really smiley guy with a red little Superman curl going on.
Yeah,
and that's it. Like he's like a business. His character is different.
Well, I mean, he also has like
his whole
rings that are literally like they're like ring pops of every color, and he's always like showing them off and like blinking and stuff. And I thought that would have been really cool to see, but obviously an aesthetic choice. The judge has no hair in the game. Important, I thought.
Sure.
and there's this kind of weird part where Yanni Yogi his like fiance comes back. Like he's like thinking about it.
Sure does.
And then she comes back as like this weird bird caged face woman.
She's like
apparition.
a parrot. The parrot, basically.
Yeah.
But in the bird
she's in the
cage.
bird.
She's in the bird cage. It's really it's creepy.
It was super creepy.
It was like the creepiest thing that I've seen from horror movies in a while.
And had like no place in the moment that was happening. I was like,
I was really confused for a moment. I had to rewind.
Has this like, resolution about like, I felt wronged, and I feel so bad about my wife, and like, oh, I'm so sorry, Sayuri, and then like he opens his eyes and see like. That could have been like, okay, he feels bad, that's the end of whatever.
Or she could have seen a normal wife.
Sure,
but of course Miike was just like, no.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When Mia comes back as a ghost, she just looked like her, but like frothy white instead of a regular person.
Which that I mean,
the
that's
Gaussian blur.
in the game. She just kind of
murdered.
like she does an anime thing where she like inhabits the body, but her tits get like crazy big and stuff, and like her hair doesn't change. She's kind of wearing the same costume,
that's
but
what
she like
happens
expands.
when you get possessed.
Yeah, and I understand. Like I get it. It happens to me all the time. It's so embarrassing.
I know.
But we don't know why that happens. But obviously, I don't know, another aesthetic choice. His story is also way darker than in the games. Like in the games, it's like like she either dies of like stress or like
and
something.
he lies on purpose. Like I think there's this thing where he's kind of like he acts like he can't hear them half the time. So it's not. I don't think in the game he has amnesia. I think he's like, oh, what did you say? Oh,
he's senile. He like pretends to be senile.
Yeah. So he doesn't act like he has amnesia. He acts like he's senile.
Because in the game, it's like he had a lack of oxygen gave him brain damage. Like that was the idea of it. Yeah.
But
and in the movie, I believe it was just like you have to just fake mental illness, basically.
Yeah, to get out of being put in jail.
Yeah,
and
but
life or whatever.
Yeah, but Yagioni, they go through this whole story of like how like he comes back to his home and it's like covered with all these like signs of the murder and all of that.
That was pretty sad.
Yeah, and then he comes over.
That was a really amazingly set dress scene though. There was every inch of that apartment. It wasn't like these poor other people who live in this apartment building. Because he didn't live in a house. He lived like in a apartment. So like his whole apartment building is covered. I'm like, man, if I was his neighbor, I would hate him too.
I guess, but I mean, would you go and make signs like that? There were definitely more signs than I would ever put effort in.
All the arts and crafts store has been sold out.
Yeah.
It's like a classroom full of school children were told to make signs and like post
Just
it.
put them on.
Let's say die, murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be sad, but it's kind of funny.
But he finds that his wife or his fiance has killed herself. Like you see her hanging.
She jumped the
and
shark.
you're just like, oh wow.
Whoa, it's got dark
pretty
real quick.
hard.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that gives him motivation though.
Yeah, and then you kind of like think about the rest of the movie, and there's like these kind of like Japanese comedy scenes where it's like. So like the punchline and everyone's like, oh,
yeah,
and they fall over.
They were like
they all fall over.
Still, and then they would fall over.
There's one good line
amazing.
where they're interviewing Yanni Yogi, and Yanni Yogi was like, yes, I saw him. He was a strange character, and his cravat was fluttering.
Yeah.
And he's like, objection.
And everyone goes like this.
It's like, I wasn't here, and my cravat does not flutter that much.
And then everyone goes,
and it was,
which is a very like a Japanese comedy like Mantz thing.
What is that called? There's a word for it.
It's called like the breaker. I can't remember.
It's like a serious person and then a dumb person.
Oh, the bokeh and not bokeh. I can't remember his name.
Bokeh and
not Seme. Wrong word.
No, I was thinking Seme too.
Let's talk about BL now.
No, not Uke and Seme.
Different show.
So yeah, those parts are really funny. When the comedy hits, like I thought the jokes were very funny.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I'm into Japanese comedy. There's this.
But it is a cultural kind of comedy.
Yeah. But the way that they kind of cut and do it cinematically is also really funny. There's a part when he's like looking for evidence at the lake. And then everyone's like,
I love that
and
scene.
he pulls something out and
like very dramatically.
And then he's like, Ike.
Squid.
And there's squid, and everyone's like, oh, and they just leave. And then he points, he goes, friends. So, it has such a good mixture of comedy and of like this kind of weird spookiness.
And basically cosplay hair.
And cosplay. And
Really
Lots
great,
of
Wow.
cosplay.
really great hair.
what a great
Really great
world.
cosplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is just fancy as hell.
Yeah.
That's the world I want to live in.
Yeah. All right.
So what else do we got? What else we got?
We're talking about some
We're gonna
name
talk
puns.
about some name puns.
So like this is not just specific to the movie, but like
Also the games.
If you don't know, in the games, so in Japanese the game is called Gyakuten Saiban. Turnabout Trials, which like something happens in a trial, but then it gets turned around. And in America, it was translated to Ace Attorney because just that shit did not make any sense. But the game relies so heavily on puns, they changed all of the names to be English puns. And in the Japanese version, most of them are puns too, and they're actually pretty good. So I'm gonna try real hard to do some translation here. So Phoenix Wright, in English, it's like Phoenix, he rises in the flame and right because he's always right. It's kind of a pun, and they joke about that a couple times in the game, in the English version. In the Japanese version, his name is Ryuichi Naruhodo. So in Japanese, so his last name is Naruhodo. In Japanese, Naruhodo means like, oh, I see. So it's kind of like a guy that doesn't really know what's going on, but he just agrees with what's happening. It's sort of the joke. And then what else? Miles Edgeworth, which is this is kind of a lame one, but like Edgeworth, like a sword, and Mitsurugi is in the kanji. There's one of the kanji is sword. It's kind of like the sharp sword or whatever. So that's almost a direct translation. So he's supposed to be, but with his name, be very like adept at seeing things as they are or whatever.
Very sharp.
Yeah.
He's got a sharp eye
like a sword.
and sharp hair to match.
Edgeworth.
Who doesn't have sharp hair in this show though? Like
Everyone has
everyone
Everyone's
has
hair is
sharp
is
ass
on
hair.
point,
Everyone
let me tell you.
Made choices with their hair every single day.
Let's see. What's another funny one? Some of them are not that great. Oh, God. So in the English version, the blonde friend.
Larry Butts.
Larry
she's
Butts.
Larry Butts. And sometimes in the game, they joke, Harry Butts? Your name's Harry? Like, a Harry Butt. Like, this is such, like, actual butt humor.
They also have a saying in the game where it's like, if it smells, it's the butts.
Yeah,
because
so-
he's the one that perpetrates most of the crap in their lives.
Yeah, in the first, like, 3 little trials you get in the game, it's like he's kind of like the red herring. Basically, his name should be red herring. In the Japanese version, his name is Masashi Yahari. So Yahari can be like a slang version of like yappari, like, oh, I knew it, like, oh, definitely that was what was happening, like, oh, it was definitely him. So it's kind of sort of this like you are the meaning of the, you're like the butt of the joke, or you're the meaning of this thing, or red herring, like, oh, it's probably you. What's another one? Oh, and then like a lot of the names that were translated into English, they didn't have puns in the Japanese. So like the girl who comes in with a big afro who testifies because she was taking the pictures. In the English version, her name is Lotta Hearts. Like, she has a lot of heart. But her Japanese version didn't have, like, any kind of...
Her name is Lotta. Was Lotta Hart, right?
In the Japanese version, her name was just something normal, like, I didn't write it down, but it was just, like,
I thought that was.
Asako or something boring.
I thought they called her Lotta the whole time. Oh, that's the translation that I saw actually had the English name.
Yes,
so it was very confusing.
we watched a totally legal on the in the world internet version of this
It's
movie.
legal somewhere in the world.
It's legal somewhere. So the person who subbed it actually subbed it with the English names, and that confused the shit. I mean, first I was like,
Me too.
Same.
I was like, they're not saying Yana Yogi, like who? Oh, I'm like, oh, that's right. It's because the game had totally different names in the Japanese version. See, there's a little lost in translation there, but it's all very good. It's still very good.
So let's see. You want to do some shit that doesn't make sense? Okay.
This is a long section.
So we have a segment now that's called "Shit That Doesn't Make Sense" with Michelle. So basically, what she does is she talks about shit that she thinks doesn't make sense, and then I try to make excuses for them as to why they do make sense.
We just disagree. We're not gonna hit all of these. So, okay, number 1, shit that doesn't make sense.
Go ahead, throw out your first one.
In this world, so this is specific to the movie. This is not in the game at all. In this movie world, there's a giant machine that comes. So in the courtroom, a giant machine comes out of the ceiling, sprouts many arms, and acts as a
holographic
it acts
screens.
as it can project holograms. It can analyze evidence that you throw it into the air. It catches bullets and like can analyze the DNA from it. It's amazing and do like
It was
ballistics
pretty amazing,
live.
you guys.
It throws confetti after someone wins or is
Okay.
not
Says,
guilty.
like, not
Wait,
guilty.
we gotta go through these.
Huh?
Oh, sorry. No, I'll
I
go
think-
through them
so
after you finish.
In general,
After
I'm
you
just
finish.
saying that machine doesn't make any sense.
Like, the part that I love is when they had a flashback to like the older trial. The machine is like an old school television, like a giant TV.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh
I
no,
totally passed over
that was in the beginning.
Like in the middle of the movie, like they keep flashing back to like
Oh, to the
the
previous
old case,
trial.
the
yeah.
DL6
yeah,
case,
the
right?
DL6 case, and like you see Edgeworth's dad like pointing to a giant screen, but it was like
Right.
an old
Yeah.
school television.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was cool because, like, you know, in the game when they're like, objection, and they point to
Yeah.
evidence, they actually, like,
They can
he
slam it
slams
and
the
throw
thing,
it.
and then a
then
screen will pop up, and then you can
throw
throw
it,
the
like-
evidence at the other guy, which is pretty
Yeah.
Yeah,
funny.
which is cool.
I liked it.
All right, Max, rebuttal on why this shit made sense.
My rebuttal on why that shit made sense is that in the game they don't really
There's also confetti,
explain.
yeah.
They don't really explain what the system is. So sometimes you'll just be like, "Oh, there's new evidence," and then the evidence will change on your screen. But it's like this
In the
giant
game.
HUD
Yeah.
where, like, obviously in the screen you don't know if it's like a folder, or if it's like a box, or if it's like a whole monitor or whatever. But so it is open to translation, and if it's a case that's super fast, and even in the game, it's like all these things are switching so quickly. They're analyzing things instantaneously. If you point something out, then it's like, oh, we have a 3D reconstruction that you can like mess
Sure.
with. So
It
it's
was
like super
cool,
future.
And it made sense. It did directly translate from the game. Like,
Yeah.
so literally
Yeah.
what you saw on the screen was what happened in real
Exactly.
life. in
So
the
you're
movie.
able to like pick it out, and you were able to see everything. So
Okay.
I think that still, in a way, though maybe dramatic, makes sense.
So no one else.
And also confetti because confetti happens,
In the-
and you know it does, and it says not guilty. And you know what the great part is they even put that in the trial.
Yeah, they project the words
The
not guilty.
and it's like all jittery and
Yeah.
like really shitty,
With
and
the
I love
confetti.
it. Yeah, and the confetti happens.
Or some girl throwing
And
confetti.
Get me a
nobody
better
else
one.
in this world has any technology. Like, there's no other advanced technology in the entire movie
That's true.
except
They're
for this
using
machine.
like flip phones and stuff.
Yeah,
that's fair.
they're using like they got the little thing. They're texting each other by like. There's no smartphones yet. So okay, next number 2. Oh yeah, the random cosplay in the background. So there.
It's like Hunger Games style.
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if it was like this in the video games, but like
you can't tell because they're all just like blank
Oh,
faces.
they're looking.
Yeah.
So in,
Yeah, they're
in the
silhouettes.
movie, the people who are watching, and like in this world, you buy tickets to the trials to go see who's gonna die. You know, basically like a wish trial kind of thing. They go to observe and like scream and stuff. And everyone, but all these background actors are dressed like real, like specifically
Yeah.
crazy. And I'm like, are you references to things I don't remember, or
No,
like some
they're-
girl has a big bow in her hair, guys are wearing like green suits, like
That's
it's just
like,
really loud.
I think the whole thing is it's like for the most part, everyone is like moderately okay dressed. Like in the game, they're just kind of normal. There's a lot of characters that are normal, and there are a lot of characters that are like crazy characters. And I think because their hair is so weird, you know, to get it as accurate as they can, they have to build the world around them. And to make it seem
Right.
like that is a normal
That's the
thing.
norm.
So because if everyone else was wearing like khakis and like button-up shirts,
This
it
is
would
very
be very
valid.
strange
Yeah.
for them to have it weird, crazy, gravity-defying hair. But because everyone does, they're normal.
I
in
was
this world.
also
Such amazing
thinking,
hair.
like,
Yeah.
because they've made it into this like fancy event you have to buy tickets to. It's kind of like people are dressing up to go to the opera, sort of thing.
It's like a show
Actually, yeah.
almost. Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what a bunch of nerds go to the opening of a movie and they like wear the costume.
Costumes, yeah. But it's
Yeah,
like
that's
their
me.
own OC style.
All right. So another random thing was number 3. So Red White in the scene, and I can't remember why they show the scene. They show him with.
Oh, yeah.
He has duct tape over his face
With a
the
zipper.
zipper in the middle of the duct tape.
It was very like super
why- but why are they
creepy
showing
horror
that?
kind of thing.
I actually don't know.
I looked
that
back
was a
couple
really
times.
random scene.
It was random, and I want to say that's a Miike thing. That's just
I
a
think
Miike
so.
preference to make it super weird again. And
He's
I
not
was
always wearing
I
it,
was
just
I was
like-
thinking it was like maybe he was alluding to like kind of like there's these devices. There's
Mm-hmm.
like the chain of your hearts and stuff. So there are like these kind of like visual style type dealies that like
Yeah,
are,
look at that. Look
are
at that
like a
zipper.
game
Look
gimmick.
at it.
But in the first game, none of that really exists. So I think it is just the Miike style
Oh,
type
Miike.
deal.
think
Why
so.
do?
Yeah.
All right, and then the last why is You know when you grow up, when you're a kid and you grow into an adult, you kind of look different? No,
Yes.
not these people.
Objection. Objection.
So when you see the flashbacks of Edgeworth, Phoenix, and Larry Butz in their youth, they have exactly the same hair. And little Edgeworth, he used to have gray hair and you're wearing an ascot in grade school? This is amazing.
Hold it. That's what it's like in the game.
No, I mean...
He's wearing an ascot. He's wearing the same suit. It's totally accurate.
The problem with all of Max's rebuttals are that, like, these don't make sense is because, like, in the world we're living in, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
cute, but it's such
there's
a funny
lot
moment.
of things. If we're going to go through that, you know, it's kind of like...
All right, why is there even a movie?
Yeah, but all the other kids also had weird hair.
Oh, did they?
To be fair,
I didn't even
They did have
notice.
weird
Shit.
hair.
All right, we'll go back and look at that. It's just weird. It's a world of weird hair.
It's a world
I
of
thought
weird
it was
hair.
really. I thought it was really cute that they put that little boy in a gray wig. I'm like, oh, because you didn't think we would know who it was. We're done.
With his little short and ascot.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, other
In
things that
theory,
happened.
I say. Also accurate
Yeah.
to the game, so
Yeah.
I have to give you credit for that.
Yeah, you want to talk about Takeshi?
So, Takashi Miike, obviously, you can tell that he has very weird stylings for movies. And so, Ichi the Killer is the one that he's famous for.
Yeah.
The most famous for. Everyone knows Takashi Miike from
Because he's
Ichi the
in it
Killer.
as well, right? He direct or no? Is it somebody else? No, that's a different actor.
No, that's a different actor.
JK.
But
JK,
yeah,
not all the same. Sorry.
he also did Zatoichi, which I know what actor thinking of. You're thinking of Quintano, and that is
Right.
not the same actor.
Okay.
But he was in Zatoichi, and it's true because Miike actually very, very much looks like the guy that I just said that I forgot his name.
Sure.
But he also did Sukiyaki Western Django, which is
God,
like this.
that was the
that's, it was
Some people
unfortunately.
love that, but I don't get it. Like
I watched that.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Okay.
they did it in English, and no one spoke English.
Visually, it's amazing.
It is.
Sure,
The
yeah,
English
yeah.
is so hard to swallow that it ruins
There's
it.
no point to it.
It also has a intro cameo by Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
It's weird. It's like as if you took, like, if you gave me a script in German, you're like, just figure out how these are said, the words, and
Here's
fine
like-
if you're not
Say
right.
it.
Yeah, they have it like in
Yeah.
Japanese phonetically, and they're like, just that's how that
That's fine,
kind of
yeah.
sounds.
Anyway, moving on.
And then MPD Psycho, which is based off a very old manga, the psychological murder manga, very gruesome. I saw
I
this
love
when
that
I was
manga.
I saw this when I
I'm
was a
old.
kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
This was like 1995. I had no clue what I was watching, but it disturbed me to my very core, and that's why
Now he loves
I'm
Mickey
this.
Games.
And that's why I love
love
Takashi Miike.
NPD Psycho is so
MPD
good.
Psycho is good. A lot of people probably have heard of Audition, which I thought was a Korean movie. It's not a Korean movie. It's a Japanese movie by Miike. And people have said that it is one of the most terrifying movies ever, and has a lot of penis chopping.
Whoa!
So they also have another one called Zebra Man. He's also known for that. Yatter Man, which is a live action based on a very old anime. And 13 Assassins was kind of one of the movies that were publicized here. I believe it's on Netflix, so if you want to check it out, it's a very good movie. It's crazy. The sets are always very good in all of his movies. The costumes were very good in all of his movies. His cinematics are amazing.
I wonder how he got signed on to do a video game movie. That's really weird to me. Because like all of these movies are quite like they're like almost like works of art, and then he's like video game movie. I'll do this, Capcom.
Wait, which one's a video game movie?
The one we're reviewing now, Ace Attorney.
Oh, Ace Attorney. Yeah, I knew that. Sorry. Yeah.
guys,
We
you
just
heard it here
talked
first.
about
Okay,
it for like the last 40 minutes.
the reason I have this weird thinking is because it's actually very much like kind of an anime. I feel it is a game, yes, but it has like such anime roots. To me, it's kind of like still tethered
The
within that.
style of the game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But it's not really like an
Kinda like-
action or
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like he does a lot more like
But
action psychological thrillers.
I still think
Yeah.
it's in the same vein, and it's true that he does do that. I think they just like, if you're a fan of Miike, you're a fan of Miike.
He
sort
must
of.
just really like playing.
He's
Ace
done-
Attorney.
Yeah.
He's
He's
done
played-
so many movies though.
Yeah.
Like
So he doesn't really have a genre.
yeah.
All right.
And then also Terraformers is the thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah,
manga.
next time, guys.
And then Blades of
time.
Immortal.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what do we like about this?
Let's talk about what we liked and how we would rate it with what we liked.
Yeah.
I'm always saying like in its category because I don't really know how to rate movies anymore. I like this show has broken me. I used to be able to rate movies very easily. Now I'm like, but if you compare this against like a Ghibli film, you can't do that.
No.
I think as an adaptation of a video game, that's my category. It's like a 4 because it's really honest to what it was. It adds some new things and it makes it exciting. It makes it like a new story for people who already know the game really well. And it has some great funny moments and some really great dramatic moments, ups and downs.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it a lot just because it was so different from anything that I've ever seen. Like, it's comedic but also very dark, but also like a mystery at the same time. So I mean, I wouldn't mind rewatching this movie or showing it to someone and be like, check this out, it's a crazy movie.
Yeah.
You know.
But out of 5, what would you give it?
I'd say 4. I would give it a 4.
Yeah, this is pretty high.
Our rating system is real fucked.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Maybe we should change to like a 1 to 10.
I feel like we should just not have a rating system. At this point, we should just say if it's good or not, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's say we're seeing how we still have a rating system because order must be a thing.
Sure do.
I would have to give it a 4.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's just one of the best video game movies that I've seen so far. Just the thing about video game movies, like once again, like Warcraft.
Yeah, they're pretty much universally terrible, but
it's kind of like comic book movies too, where it's like it's way too serious for its own good. This movie takes the spirit and like really runs with it, and so even if there are things that are different from the game, it still feels like it could be in that word.
Kept the heart of the source material.
It was very much
really
like
did.
enjoyable, you know, which I feel like video game movies suck the life out of what you once felt on stuff.
Because the heart of video games are like you enjoy playing them.
Exactly.
But then it has a movie version, you're like, I don't enjoy watching them. Because you're not involved in it and you don't feel involved. And
They want to make a movie into like this movie, you know, like they want it to have like a realistic, grounded premise. And it's like, we don't need that. And this movie does exactly that and has amazing visuals and set pieces. So, 4. It's amazing.
Good. So we got 4s across the board. Excellent.
Good movie. Definitely recommend you watch it. It is long,
I recommend
but it's worth it for sure.
That's long and it's worth it. So yeah, I mean, I don't think. Speaking of video game movies, I know Warcraft is out now and it's getting ripped apart.
It's pretty sad
online.
It is.
And we're gonna go see it tomorrow, and I'm just like, or is it? Friday. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, I'm sad because they put a lot of money into it for show.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 3D looks
cool.
great. It just sucks that when you put 3D that looks amazing and way better than real life with people, then you're like, people.
These people suck.
You tried, people, but you're not 3D awesome works.
It's like we had this analogy of like, you remember when superhero movies were really terrible all the time? Like we had. I don't want to use Batman as an example because I feel like Batman was really good, but like you had this really hokey, beginning of like the Flash, like remember the Flash live action TV series? Like that was the level way back in the day, and it was so terrible for so long. All superhero movies were like it's like the kiss of death, and suddenly they're amazing, they're great, they're the top.
It's also Uwe Boll's fault mainly.
Yeah, but like it's taken like 10 to 20 years for this genre to get good, and I'm like, oh no, video game movies are still in the first years of it.
And even still, most of them are not.
And I feel like anime movies and video game movies are moving that same way, where they're they're starting out real slow because people don't really know how to translate the fun of it yet. And it's
I feel like there are more successes with anime and video game movies in Japan than there are American video game and cartoon movies. Except for Marvel, obviously Marvel kind of has like that thing, but like Rurouni Kenshin, perfect. Ace Attorney, maybe not as perfect, but also still very good.
Really fun. Yeah.
So anyway, so we have to kind of end with that this week. Do you guys have any plugs?
You can find me. My name is Chubby Bunny Michelle. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny.
My name is Diane, and you can find me on defectivegeeks.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at punkagogo.
And I'm Maxwell Song, and you can find me on all social media at Super Otaku, Super Attack with the U at the end. Please find me. Please check out some awesome stuff that we have. And we'll see you next week. Do you know what we're doing?
Nope. Jonathan's leading next week.
It's going to be a surprise. Anyway, have a good week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.